Hi friends, welcome back to our channel Study Buddy, and I've been receiving a lot of questions from students that they were asking how to write a research proposal for the masters and PhD in the international universities, and how to send this research proposal when they apply for any PhD and master positions to the supervisors. Okay, so this video is going to be in very detail about each and every steps how you write your research proposal. So as you can see, this is your step-by-step guide to crafting a winning proposal, winning research proposal. Okay, so why is research proposal important? First of all, so when you write a research proposal for any master program or for a PhD program, so basically that research proposal defines your research focus, basically what's your research areas is and where you want to research. So it defines that. Then it actually communicates your ideas to your supervisors or the funding bodies where you're actually writing your research proposal. Then at the same time, it also demonstrates the feasibility and relevance of your research proposal wherever you're applying for. So that's why the research proposal is so important. Now, so what are the basic structure of any research proposal? So generally, a research proposal has a title, then it has an abstract, or you can call it as an executive summary, then the introduction, the literature review part, the research questions or the objectives, methodology, expected results, timeline, budget. This is not always mandatory, but in some research proposal it is important. Then the budget, and then in the end the reference. Okay, so starting with the first one, how to craft the title of the page. So first of all, the title page of your research proposal should have the title of the research, like what the topic of your research is, the name and the institution where you're applying for. Let's suppose you're applying to for a PhD program, the research proposal at a University of Manchester. So first you'll give the title of your research, then you will tell the name of the institution, then the degree program, whether it's master's or PhD, and then your supervisor name. Now, writing the abstract. So how do you write your abstract for the research proposal? So basically, it's a brief overview of all the research proposal in the abstract form, which should be between 150 to 300 words. So what exactly the points you have to include in your abstract? It should includes the problem. So whenever you talk about any research topic, so first of all, you define okay, so this is the work has been done, but here is the problem. Problem means the lag, the gap, which hasn't been done yet. So that's the problem. Then your objectives, then to shoot those problems, what are your research objectives? And in order to achieve those objectives, then what methods you're gonna follow, and based on those methods, what are its significance? So basically, you have to highlight the gap, then your objective, how you will be filling those gaps with your objectives, and what methodology you're going to follow, and based on those methodology, and then what is the significance of all these points. So this basically you have to summarize in your 150 to 300 words, which will be your abstract. Now, after writing the abstract, so you have to frame the introduction. So what exactly you put in your introduction? So first of all, background of the topic. So this background of the topic will have actually your literature review sort of thing, like what kind of work has been done. Let's suppose if you are writing a research proposal mentioning about that you are proposing some sort of chemicals which can be used to replace cement. Now, we know that cement has a carbon emission, and you are proposing something which can reduce the demand of cement. So now you have to show what kind of work already has been done in this particular field. So this will be the background of the topic. Now, first highlight, okay, these are the relevant work has been done, but now this is the literature gap here. And that literature gap is actually the statement of the problem. So now the research gap you will be mentioning there, that people have done this work, but this work here at this point, this work is lagging. So it is very important in your research proposal to mention the research gap, and this research gap should be directly related to your literature review. Now, once you have mentioned the research gap, now you have to mention the objective of your study. So always remember, in a research proposal, so you have some research aim. So research aim is always one, but to achieve that research aim, you can have multiple research objectives. So once you highlight it, okay, this is the literature gap, this is the research gap, and now how I'm going to shoot that research gap, how I'm going to approach that research gap. So then you will be defining your research objectives. So these are your research objectives, and using these research objectives, you will be achieving your research aim. And that research aim will be the research gap. So basically this will be the methodology, and you have to interlink all the methodology, which will be subparts of your research objectives all together clubbing. It will be making your research aim, and that research aim will be directly related to your literature gap. And make sure that you highlight the important and the significant aspect of your research methodology, how you're going to approach your research gap. So this is about, you have to frame your introduction. Then comes reviewing the literature. Okay, so now here you have to give a very detailed literature review. You have to summarize existing research, all the reputed journals which have published paper based on the topic which you're talking about. What kind of research have been done, that you have to summarize there. Then the identification of gap, what I was talking about, the literature gap. So you have to identify the gap. Although people have done this work, but still there is some work lacking. And then connect prior studies to your proposed work. That's what I mentioned, that in your research methodology, your research objective should connect with that literature gap. And that literature gap should also be connected to the existing studies. I mean, like if you have presented that these are the works have been done, and then when you present a literature gap, so it should be connected with those existing literature studies. It should not be out of nowhere. Okay, so that's how you do the review of your literature. Now coming the defining questions and objectives. So as I mentioned, when you tell about your literature review, then the research methodology, and now those research methodology should be linked with your research objective. And now here you will be defining the key questions that the study aim to answer. So as I mentioned, based on those literature gap, you will be having a research aim, and that research aim will be fulfilling whatever the literature gap you have identified. Now that research aim could be achieved by multiple research objectives. So here you have to define all those research objectives, because in order to achieve one research aim, you don't need to have only one research objective. It could be like in bits and pieces. You break your research aim in multiple steps, and those individual steps are your research objectives. And by shooting those individual research objectives, you can achieve your research aim. All right. So after defining your questions and objectives, the next topic would be designing your research methods. Okay, so how do you design your research methods? So first of all, your approach should be qualitative, quantitative, or mixed, whatever the approach you're following. But remember, defining research method is very important, because that's how the potential supervisor will get to know, okay, that this is your plan. That's how you're going to shoot your research aim. In that thing, you need to show that, okay, my research methodology is based on these data. These data could be could be inspired from some published studies, or you might have collected some data, some surveys. So there should be some evidence that based on that you are proposing this. And then it could be some sampling methods or some analysis plan. It means you should have some plan based on some evidence, and to justify that these plans can work as a research objective to achieve my research aim. Once you have designed your research methods, the next one is the projecting outcomes. So then you have to tell that, okay, once you have followed these things, what will be the outcome of the project? So there you will talk about the potential results, contribution to the field, and broader societal and practical implication. So remember that these results should be directly related to what you mentioned in the very beginning about your research gap. So in the end, the outcome of your project should be in connection with the research gap which you identified in the beginning, and then you have to relate it there. Once this is done, then you have to plan your timeline. So you have to also send some of the project they ask when you send your research proposal, that what is the time frame of all this research and everything. So make sure you break down the project into phases, and that you can then using Gantt charts or milestone, just show it there that what kind of timeline you are assuming that by this timeline, following this timeline, you can finish your project. When this is done, then budgeting if required. This is not always mandatory, but if in your project you're applying for some any industry financial body, then in that case also you can propose the finance distribution that can be based on the expected cost of equipment, travel, materials. And also if you make sure if you're mentioning any of these cost, then you have to also justify all these expenses. Once this is done, make sure in the end you list all the references that you have used. Referencing is very important, so mention all the references that you have done. And doing this, the finally your research proposal will be ready. So remember, the key tips for success in getting a award-winning research proposal is be concise and specific, align with institutional guidelines, proofread thoroughly, seek feedback from peers or mentors. So once this is done, then you can do that. And as I've already been mentioning, if you are writing a research proposal and if you need any guidance from me, then I'm always there, happy to help. So just let me know in the comment box, or you can contact me via the email ID given in the description box. So just go there and contact me, and I'm always there to help you. And that's all about crafting your proposal. So go ahead, start writing your research proposal. And if you like this video, if you find this informative, please like, share, and subscribe. And you can also connect us on Instagram. The handle is given here. And again, if you like this video, please share with your friends who are writing for research proposal, and all the very best for your research proposal. I hope you get all the proposal that you're writing at the moment. And let me know if you have any doubts in the comment section. Thank you.